And we are live. Glad to have everyone today. This is the 11th episode of the Reformed SEC Tavern Talk. I think that's the first time I've said the full name. It's usually just Tavern Talk. But anyway, we've got Rob and we've got James and we've got a new guest here. And Ashton is busy tonight. He has a big day planned in the morning and he could not be on the call. We'll just leave it at that. Kyle Warnock joins us today. I want to go to him and let Kyle give us a little bit about himself, how he found the tavern, who he is representing today, and just a little bit about yourself, bro.
All right. Well, my name is Kyle Warnock. I am a diehard Razorback fan, so JB's got a little bit of backup tonight. So I actually live in Fort Worth, Texas. So living in Texas and supporting the Hogs. So that's all fun. I found the tavern actually by being in 5PL. I was on post one time that they asked us for all of our teams that we root and support. And I happened to list the Hogs, and then JB sent out the invitation for me to come to the tavern, and that was by far the best decision I've made on Facebook.
Yeah, buddy, because you've got to have some sanity in your life, right?
Hey, amen. I like the community and the tavern. It's great. So it's a good place to be.
Good leadership too, right?
Absolutely. Well, good. I'm very adamant about recruiting all over different groups. I've mentioned that in past podcasts. It's fun. I like it, and most of the time they give me free reign to do it. Brandon Craig is a great guy. He's the one who started 5 Point Lead, and he pretty much just lets me do whatever I want to. I mean, I troll so much in there, and I've organized an entire group that trolls that the 5 Point Lead, and it's so much fun. Kyle's in that group. It's a lot of fun. But anyway, let's just kick this off with we wanted to go over recruiting for next year. Just a couple of guys that you guys are really excited about for the 2019 season, because as a Hog fan, the 2019 season is nothing but up for me. So I definitely want to talk about next year. So let's go on with James and see what he's got going.
Yeah, I've been hearing it pretty much all season. Jimbo's got he had the number one recruiting class for 2019 for a while. Nick Saban did eventually edge him out, but I think we're still sitting at number 2 overall in the country for recruiting class. And I'm really excited about the defensive commits that we've got going on. I haven't followed recruiting as closely this season and off season as I normally do, just given everything with school. But I was looking through them today, and I'm pretty excited about the defensive commits that we've got thus far. We've got Kenyon Green. He's 5-star offensive tackle out of Atascocita. So he's the one offensive player. But, solid 5-star anchor on the line. Give Kellen Mond a little bit more time next year. Hopefully, Kellen Mond's decision-making improves somewhat. And hopefully the line is able to help him with that. And next, we're taking a look at oops, wrong tab. My bad. DeMarvin Leal. He's a 5-star defensive tackle, so we're throwing another anchor on the line. 6'4", 280 pounds, and 5-star defensive tackle. So we've got Brian Williams. He's a 4-star safety out of Bishop Dunn in Dallas, Texas. We've got Damani Richardson. He's a 4-star out of Waxahachie, which is near Dallas, safety. And we've got Eric Young. He's a 4-star cornerback out of Fort Bend Bush High School. That's in Richmond, down kind of southwest of Houston. So we've got a lot of good talent coming in.
What was that guy's name, James? He broke up for a second.
Yeah, the cornerback Eric Young.
Okay.
And I mean, we've got a lot of 4 stars coming in. A lot of good, fresh defensive players. Hopefully, beef up the defensive line and the secondary. And it's looking up. I'm really looking forward to it. And that's pretty much what I've got as far as recruits are concerned.
All right, Rob, what you got for us?
James, just out of curiosity, what were you looking at as far as recruiting? Like what
website?
What source?
I'm looking at 247.
Okay, because that's what I generally look at is the 24/7 composite. Because we recently bumped y'all to 3, according to just looking at it. Because we just picked up a big time recruit. Our top 2 are Nolan Smith, who is the #1 overall player in the country out of Bradenton, Florida, and he's great player to to pick up. And then our most recent pickup is another 5 stars, Clay Webb. We flipped him from Alabama, and Alabama is really PO'd about that right now because he's a like top level guy that they were really wanting. And then Dominic Blaylock, I'm super pumped to have because he's one of the top wide receivers in the country. And if we can get Jaden Hazelwood to recommit, our offense is going to be dangerous next year. You add 2 top 5, well, depending on how you – Blaylock has kind of bounced around. He's like 5 or 6. Jaden Hazelwood was the #1 wide receiver in the country. You put the 2 of them together with our running core and our quarterbacks, our offense is going to be scary good. And then kind of skipping over a few of the 4 stars, going down to guy that's kind of under the radar. He's coming from Independence, Kansas. He's Jermaine Johnson. We got him from JUCO, except I can't remember if he was a last chance U guy or what. I can't remember exactly where he came from, but the kind of expectation for him when he signed, it was like, although he's only a 4-star, like he was supposed to be such a good get. So I'm interested to see how he plays out. Those are my top ones I'm excited about. Like I said, if we can get Jaden to recommit, which right now it looks like it's between the biggest haul for him right now against Georgia is looking like it's going to be Oklahoma, which makes a lot of sense because of their high-powered offense. But he had said he wanted to see Justin Fields play more, so I don't know. I don't know what exactly he's looking for. He says he wants one thing, but who really knows what's in the mind of an 18-year-old kid? So
yeah.
We'll see what happens, but those are my ones I'm most excited about.
So basically, we're expecting another mediocre year from that terrible school of Georgia, who's top 2 in the SEC.
Top 2 in the country. I mean, maybe not according to the College Football Invitational, but
Invitational.
Don't get Ashton too excited.
Ashton's not here, man. Ashton's not here.
I'm taking up Ashton's torch, man. I'm taking up Ashton's torch in his absence. He sees
this off air, he's gonna go crazy. He's gonna love it, James.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, I've been calling it pretty much college football invitational since it got started. It's like, oh great, we went from 2 teams to 4 teams. Whoop-de-doo. What a playoff, But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I think we've still got Kyle and JB to hear from as far as the recruits are concerned. So,
yeah, Kyle, why don't you give me something to be happy about for Arkansas next year?
All right. So I haven't followed the recruiting too closely, just because I work full time and am working on a master's degree right now. So my time is rather limited. But a couple points I wanted to highlight. Number one, I'm excited to see kind of what this first recruiting class has done over this last year. Just kind of watching players play. I'm excited to see how they get better and see what Morris's recruits in the first year kind of do. We have Connor Noland. I remember we had a wide receiver that came in for spring practice early last year, and he had a few good plays this year. So I'm kind of excited to see how they end up panning out. I do follow most of our coaches on Twitter just to kind of get the buzz on who they're recruiting. Seems like they're putting a lot more effort than Bart Bielema ever did into recruiting. So, it does feel more promising that way. Something that I do know is, so I grew up in Texas for the most part and followed Texas high school football and kind of know the names of the powerhouse schools, things like that. And so with Chad Morris, he coached at a couple of the really big powerhouse football schools in Texas. And his son plays at one of the more, the biggest powerhouses in Dallas area in Highland Park. So I'm really hoping he'll use those coaching ties at Highland Park and Austin Westlake and Stephenville, who's known to be pretty good, and really recruits Texas well, because most of the time if you recruit Texas well, you're going to have a pretty good team. So though I don't know specifics necessarily, I am excited about those ties and see kind of how he brings that out. And I think we're at one time we had like a top 20 recruiting class. I don't know if that's true anymore or not, but that was something to get excited about because, knowing Arkansas, it's hard. It's a beautiful place, but I feel like with there not being a huge city life, different things like that, for the most part compared to other cities, and also not having the prestige of Ohio State or Alabama or something like that, it's harder for us to land bigger name recruits. But I'm really hoping Chad Morris will kind of turn that around a little bit.
I feel you, bro. I feel you. I always say, and they always say, the coaches and everything, they always say, if we can get them on campus, they will fall in love. Mm-hmm. I'm disappointed that didn't happen with Kelly Bryant, but you can't win them all. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We'll get to him later if we have time. I'm with you. I think this first class, Bumper Pool, we got to see him a little bit on defense. I think things are looking really good for him. I think he's going to be better than Dre Greenlaw. He's just right now isn't the leader that Dre is. But with him stepping up in his footsteps, I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with, man. Connor Nolan, who knows what's going to happen with that guy? I mean, he seems like he's doing really good. It's just our offensive line is terrible. Actually, all of our team is terrible for the most part. But there's just a few shining moments. But the thing is, they're overcrowded by the lazy work ethic players that Burt was recruiting, and those guys were just checked out, and they hadn't bought in. So, I mean, the record at the end of the season does not show how the young talent that we have was really playing hard and really has some bright spots in them. But as far as recruits go, I mean, yeah, he's a lot more active than Burt was. And for those of you who don't know, Mr. Georgia and Mr. Texas A&M, we call Bielema, we call him Burt.
Yeah, no, that's something that I saw from some Aggies too. I mean, I don't get exactly why, other than I guess it sounds more like a fat name and Brett sounds more like a frat name. But Like that's the only thing
What?
I mean,
it's kind of a dig at him. He doesn't like it.
You know, I mean, versus Brett, the frat guy. You know, I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
It makes sense. I just never would have thought
It's
of
hilarious. So I didn't think of that.
I mean, that's the only thing that I ever thought of when I first saw it.
I think it's just a troll thing that they started. It's kind of funny, but my biggest thing I'm looking at is that Hudson Henry, which is Hunter Henry's younger brother. He's the number two tight end in the nation, or number one, depending on which source you're looking at. Definitely the number one recruit in the state, which is great to get the best recruit in the state, because for the longest time we were not doing that. But yeah, I like Hudson. I think he's going to be good, and a lot of people are saying he's going to be better than Hunter. Hunter says he's going to be better, but it's his little bro, so he's probably boosted him up. But Hunter's in the NFL right now, so I'm looking at him thinking this is going to be a good one here. And then I like we got a couple of good receivers, Traylon Burks and Trey Knox. Traylon Burks is the number 2 recruit in the state of Arkansas. Yes, how about that? We got the top 2 in our own state. Awesome. And Trey Knox is the number 8 recruit in Tennessee. 2 really good wide receivers, both 4 stars. And then we got Devin Bush, a cornerback from Louisiana. Think of that, a 4-star DB that DBU was not able to get. I'm happy about that. KJ Jefferson, I think KJ has what it takes. He just bumped up to a 4-star, and he'll probably redshirt. Connor Nolan will probably be the starter, but he may fight him for it, though. Who knows? I mean, it's open, obviously, because we rotated 4 different quarterbacks this year. So KJ may get it. I mean, who knows? I mean, we've seen true freshman quarterbacks come out there, but this guy's a dual threat quarterback from Mississippi, and all the film and everybody that I've talked to has said that this kid is the real deal. So I'm thinking that things are looking up. I just really hope that we can get some JUCO transfers on the offensive line, because the guys that we've been getting have been we haven't gotten hardly any offensive linemen that had an offer from an SEC school. We've basically been getting Sun Belt guys. Does not make me very happy, but hopefully we can get some JUCO guys. But they have, on the other hand, been recruiting a lot of top talent on the defensive line, like more than they'll ever need. So there's a chance that 1 or 2 of those guys could move to offense. So we'll see what happens. Things are looking up, and we're actually the number 14 recruiting class, Kyle. Actually 11 in rivals and 14 in 247. So
all right.
Yeah. But let's move on to the next segment. What do we got? Oh yeah, we're going to talk about
favorite Christmas songs and movies.
Let's wait on that, man.
All right, we're going to talk about
We're going to end it there.
Okay. All right.
I sent this to Kyle. I'll let him start us off on that. We were presented with a question from Sam Wallace last week that we weren't able to answer because it was too intense for us to do on the spot right there. He wanted us to do an end of the year awards show, which we're not going to do a whole show on it. We're going to do a short segment on it. Basically in the SEC, I assume probably coach of the year, offensive and defensive players of the year, special teams, freshman of the year, whatnot. What do you think, Kyle? Who's your SEC coach of the year?
Okay, so SEC coach of the year. Sorry, James, had to go to Mark Stoops. He did a good job at Kentucky this year.
Yeah.
So, it was just something that Kentucky has just been so bad that even though they weren't, top of the SEC this year, and I mean, they were ranked and everything like that, for them, this was as good of a year as could be hoped, I think. So I think Stoops did a great job. So I had to give it to him. On the offensive play of the year, I I mean, obvious choice for me, Tua. I mean, second in the Heisman race, just great stats, played great up until the SEC championship game. Did deal with some injuries and had some moments where he just held on to the ball too long. But overall, I think he was just by far and large best offensive player to me. As far as a defensive player goes, as much as it pains me to say it, Greedy Williams really had a great year. And, when you watch games, people didn't really throw at him a lot. I know A&M, y'all were able to get to him a little bit and, put some points up, things like that. But for the most part, most of the year, he had a great year. And it really does physically pain me to say that because he is an LSU Tiger. But I will say that, he had a great year.
There you go. And too bad Ashton's not here to hear that. Of course, if he was, you may not have said it.
Oh, absolutely not.
Let's go on to James. What you got for us, man?
I'm going to start with the special teams player of the year. Everybody already knows Braden Mann. He's got the NCAA record for punt average, which is somewhere around 52 yards a punt. Either 52 or 62, something like that on the season. Either way, he's got the NCAA record for longest punt average. He's got multiple tackles on the year, including one forced fumble. I mean, he's just gone above and beyond what you would expect from a punter. And he's the one redeeming quality for our offense that was impotent in the red zone. Well, not in the red zone, but, was impotent outside the 20s, particularly, going in for the early mid part of the year. I mean, we definitely picked up in the red zone and picked up between the 20s as the year wore on, but it was a real struggle earlier on this year. I would probably agree with Kyle as far as coach of the year. I mean, as much as I'd like to say some other people, like I really, really have no grounds. Jimbo. It was an 8-5 season. He did a good job coming in using recruits from Kevin Sumlin's system and whipping them into shape and getting them thinking and playing like men who want to win. Only had one minor off the field issue that ended up going away, was hyped up to be more than it really was, as opposed to Kevin Sumlin's multiple off the field issues every single year. So that really says something about what's going on in the locker room, which, I mean, I really would like to, but no, I got to agree. Stoops did a great job bringing Kentucky up from relative obscurity to actually being in talks for making it to the playoff. I'm going to take Ashton's pick for defensive player of the year for Devin White. He really, really stepped it up, and they really hurt whenever he wasn't there for the phony targeting call. As far as
privilege.
Right. As far as rookie of the year, I don't have a rookie of the year. I haven't really been paying attention to the breakout stars. And that's all I got. What do you got, Rob?
Well, first of all, none of us have a rookie of the year. I think you mean freshman of the year, but
freshman of the year, rookie of the year, same difference.
That's what Sam said on there was rookie of the year. So.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, I think I'm gonna stick with, as far as the coach of the year, I'm gonna stick with Stoops on that one. I think he did a great job, and another thing to add to him was that he's progressively brought Kentucky up and up and up since he started there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's progressively gotten them better and better. This year just took a leap, and really, despite them not being like, nowhere near championship competitiveness and even conference kind of they had the hope, but really weren't to that level yet. Still did well. And offense player of the year, I got to go with Tua. I mean, just he's. I feel like he should have won the Heisman, but I know James disagrees with me on that one.
I mean, yeah, I will disagree with you on that. I do think that Kyler deserved the Heisman just because he was the more standout player, and I think more of his offense rested on him, and it's more around the single player, like the award is more towards the single player and less towards the best player on the best team. It was the best player overall, and Kyler really carried his team. Tua was a great player in a great system, and they did well all year long, even when he was injured. And even when he went out in the SEC championship, wasn't doing super great, and then Jalen came in. It's just a great player in a great system. Whereas Kyler, he's a great, outstanding player in an okay, good system. I mean, it's not quite on the same level, but he stands out more above the pack and his team. But not only that, his play is a lot more, I mean, he's lightning fast. He's really agile, whereas Tua, I mean, he may be fast. He may have a good arm, but he's more that pro style, more business, less fun type of player, whereas Kyler, is a la Johnny Manziel, super fast, making crazy plays, or Baker Mayfield. So he's just more fun to watch.
Sorry, I was laughing at JB. No, I think he's having problems.
Oh, his computer died again because he left it unplugged. That's 2 weeks in a row. Come on, man. Bush League stuff.
I saw.
All right. Well, I guess.
He said, "Oh, not again." But to continue, so my rebuttal to that would only be in the sense that, I would say it would be easy when you have a high-powered offense that plays no defense. The toughest defense you play is Texas.
Yeah.
It's easy to have a lot of stats. But when you look at the stats, if that's what you're going off of, then, I guess you would give it to Kyler. But since we're sticking with the SEC here, that's irrelevant. So I'm going to say Tua, Offensive Player of the Year. Defense Player of the Year, I'm going to be a little biased and go against Ashton here and say DeAndre Baker. I think you could give this to a lot of players, actually. There's a lot of good defensive players. You could give that to a lot of the players on Alabama's team even. But DeAndre just had in the same way as Devin, he was like no quarterback wanted to throw in his direction. They purposely tried to avoid throwing in his direction. And that's why he's a last I checked, number 12 in the mock draft for this upcoming draft. So, I mean, that's just that's a little biased, but I'm gonna have to go with that for him for my Defensive Player of the Year.
All right.
And then I mean, it's not even a contest on special teams, so go with Braden Mann.
All right, JB, who you got for your Players of the Year and Coach of the Year?
Can you present me because I'm on my phone and I'll not be able to do it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm not so fast.
Yeah.
I'll say that Mark Stoops did a great job, but I said this earlier on a different episode. I think that is a big testament to a program and boosters and a fan base and an athletic director who is willing to let their coach have some time and build his program. And that's what he did. I mean, from the ground up, basically. And every year he's gotten better and better and better. So, I mean, he's a great coach, and he's done a good job. But I think he's progressively gotten better and better every year. I'm going to say that this year, the SEC Coach of the Year, it could go to Mark Stoops. Yeah, I mean, it's either one, really. But I'm going to say it's Dan Mullen, man. Because you're talking about a guy that took a team that was 4-8, 4-8, which is what we were last year, and we went to 2-10 this year. They were 4-8 last year, and this year they went 9-3 and are ranked 10 in the nation. That is a huge turnaround. I'm going to give it to him, man. I think things are looking up at Florida. I'm sorry, Rob. I know you can't stand them, and you don't want to hear it, but it's happening. And I think you're going to have 4 teams next year competing for the SEC East: Georgia, Florida, Kentucky, and Missouri, because they've got Kelly Bryant, who has taken his team to the college football playoff once before. He's not going to do it with Mizzou, but he is going to compete for the SEC East next year. So I'm going to give it to Dan Mullen just because I want to be different. So there you go. As the player of the year goes, it's kind of hard not to go with Tua, but just to be in the spirit of being different, because that's what I want to do now. I'm going to have to go with sorry, I'm trying to get back on the computer because I like it better. I'm going to have to go with Benny Snell. That's basically Kentucky's only offense. And like, for real, man, they were atrocious on offense. They had a good defense, but I mean, for him to lead them to 9 wins on his back is pretty phenomenal. Tua is a great quarterback. I'm not going to take anything away from him, but he also has one of the best wide receiver cores in the country, and one of the best offensive lines in the country. And he couldn't get the job done in the SEC championship. So yeah, I'm going to give him a little bit of a whatever. But Tua is a great quarterback, and I think it was well deserved that he was in the Heisman race, and he was in the top 2. He could have gotten it just as easily as Kyler, but I'm going to give it to Benny Snell here just because of what he did on an atrocious offense. Defense, I'm going to I had the guy pulled up. Gosh, what's the guy's name? It was on my phone, and now I'm on my phone, and I can't.
Who do you play for?
What team?
Kentucky, linebacker.
Allen?
Yes. I mean, the guy was the heart of that defense, and that's what, the defense is what got Kentucky so far. I say Benny Snell was their entire offense. If it wasn't for their defense, there's no way they would have even.
Josh Allen.
Yeah, Josh Allen. There you go, Josh Allen. I had it pulled up, but like I said, I can't see it.
I don't know many of their players on defense, but I know his name.
Yeah, that's it. As far as freshman of the year, I don't really know. But those other special teams, yeah, I'll give it to Braden, man, just because I mean, it's really not much of a contest. The only person I'd probably give an honorable mention to would be Deebo Samuel at South Carolina, return specialist. Dude's a freaking beast. But yeah, that's my pick. And I'm going to leave the call and let James handle the next segment, and I'll get back on in just a second.
All right, let's go on to the questions. We don't have a whole ton to go through. Got a couple of facetious ones and one legit question from Kevin Briggins. All right. Do players who skip bowl games owe anything to the coaches, trainers, teammates, and institutions that have invested in them? And I'm going to go ahead and give this one to Kyle first. Kyle, what do you have to say about that?
I struggle because I understand that they're trying to protect themselves, but I just can't see not playing in a game. Yeah, you may be in the, Outback Bowl, whatever it is, Texas Alamo Bowl, Valero Bowl, whatever it is, the Hostess Twinkie Bowl, whatever it is, I don't care. but the fact is
that needs to be a bowl. It'd be hilarious.
The fact is, you put in at least 3 years of work with your teammates, if not 4, sometimes more. But to just say I'm not going to play this game because I don't care to get hurt or something. That it seems a little selfish to me, and I get the whole Jake Butt situation and him getting hurt, but how many times did guys play before it and not get hurt, and that it wasn't an issue, it wasn't a piece of the conversation. I would like to see them play and finish out their tenure. Do I think they owe them something? That's kind of a hard question to answer. But the fact is, you went out there with your teammates every day to practice. They showed up when they were hurting. They're still going to show up to the game. They're still going to play the game. It just kind of seems a little bit selfish to do that. And that's why you see so many guys getting insured before they play that game. Because Jake Butt still had money, coming to him. So it's not like he was completely out of anything. And yeah, he hasn't played in the NFL yet. I think that was more of an exception rather than the rule. So I may have an unpopular opinion, but I feel like they should play.
All right. Rob, what do you have to say about that?
I think it's pretty easy. I think that they should play. I think it's selfish. I think it's you made a commitment, and you've committed to playing for a team. And just because you can see the money ahead of you and the fame and what you can get out of for yourself, you're going to screw your team over just because you're not playing for a game you want to play for necessarily. I think it's a I understand why they do it, but I think that I'm just big on you finish what you start. I think that of course there's a chance you could get hurt, and that would suck. But if that's the case, if players want to do that, then we might as well just get rid of you have to go play in college. Let players go at that point. Let them go and skip college and go to the pros. They'll suck. They'll never make it. They'll learn that they threw away their entire chance, because the NFL is not like the NBA. Guys are not going to be able to go. It would be a rare case, but I don't think many players are going to be able to go straight from high school to the NFL and succeed. So, but if that's just what they want to do, then why even make them go to college? Let them just skip it, and then they don't even have to worry about it. They can go do what they want to do anyway, because that's what most of them want to do anyway, is go straight to the pros. If they were given the option, they'd do it. So yeah. For me, it's a simple, like, a lot of people, I'm probably in the minority on that, because a lot of people are like, oh, who cares? It's their future ahead of them. But to me, it's selfish. It's you're thinking about what's best for you, instead of, to me, when you join a team, you're making a commitment to be a part of the team, not to be a part of, a solo act. This isn't golf or something where you're playing, not taking a shot at golf. Just saying, like, it's not no disrespect towards that, but I'm saying that's a solo sport where you're playing on your own. So you're not you're not affecting anyone else if you decide to do this or that. You're only affecting yourself in that.
Yeah.
But, you know, say like Tua right now, if Alabama had fallen out of the national championship and he decided not to play.
I mean, like, why would he decide not to play? He's a
Okay, but no.
He's a
Not this year, but
next year.
humor me, next year, and they got out, and he decided not to play. They could lose a potentially good bowl game just because he wasn't playing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna ask you this real quick though. So, sorry if I interrupted you though.
No, it's fine.
Has anyone ever set out of a national championship game? Because I've only heard of
not what I said.
Yeah.
No, I said if they didn't make it to the national championship, and he set out, like basically they were just out. I'm not
okay, I got
this
you.
is all hypothetical.
Okay.
It's not. It has nothing to do with this season. Obviously, he wouldn't sit out of a national championship. That'd be stupid. I'm just saying, and that's a whole other thing. I could go further, but then I would be going into the whole playoff argument, and I'm not going to go down that rabbit trail. But not right now, anyway. But that's for another time. We can blow up the invitational. But
I mean that's kind of one of my supporting points right there. I mean I agree with both sides of the argument to some degree. I definitely think if we had the expanded playoff, that would give more importance to postseason games, and you'd have less guys sitting out. But I mean, at the same time, a guy sitting out of a bowl game is a lot less severe than a guy opting not to play his fourth season rather. But at the same time, you know, you've committed to play for that season, and you know, you haven't necessarily committed to play for the whole fourth season. And so there's a little bit of give and take there. But you also have to look at the fact that bowl games do pretty much mean nothing. I mean, they mean money. They mean money for the school. They mean money for the advertisers, and they mean nothing for the students but risk. I mean, the students put their lives on the line out there playing football. Granted, it's rare that you have loss of life from, you know, football-related injuries, at least on the field. But the football players are putting their body and their future out there on the line to go play football and give themselves a better shot in the NFL. I mean, me personally, I mean, just because I love Texas A&M, it's always been a dream of mine to play football for them. I don't think I would make that choice if I were in that position to leave or sit out of the bowl game and prepare for the NFL. I think I would stay and I would play, but I don't think that player is obligated to the team any more than he's given his word. So if he said, you know, say if he's committed to play for the season, I mean, does season include postseason? Does it only include playoff postseason versus, you know, bowl postseason, which is relatively unimportant, you know? And then you also have to look at it like, why are people getting mad about these guys sitting out? I mean, of course, yeah, you've got fans mad sitting out because it gives their team a worse shot at winning the game. You've got advertisers and sponsors mad that they're sitting out because it could mean less draw to the bowl game and less money for them. But at the same time, if you think about it, depending on how good this player is, that they could be risking tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars to play in this one game. Granted, I mean, it's a rare occasion that they get injured so bad that they can't play anymore, but it's still a risk that they're taking by playing in this bowl game that's relatively pointless to anybody but sponsors. I mean, now there is, again, the honor aspect. You commit to play for the season and you stick out the season, you know. I mean, that's just what you're supposed to do. And I do think that this is all influenced significantly by our culture. You know, I mean, just as time has gone on, we've become less and less prone to making commitments or sticking with the commitments that we make. And with the rules in football being shifted to allow for that to go on, like I mentioned earlier, the third year rule, once you've been in 3 years, even if you redshirted 1 year, played 2 years, you know, that's your 3 years, you can go to the NFL. You know, I mean, So there's that, and then you've got the 4-game redshirt rule now. So if you play 4 games, they decide to bench you. You want to boost your chances of getting play time and getting improved. You can redshirt the rest of that year, still keep that eligible year, and transfer somewhere else. So, I mean, it's not just that players are getting more self-centered. It's that the NCAA is making these rules to allow them those options that they didn't have before. I mean, before they commit to a school, they're pretty much stuck there, and it costs something to go back on that commitment. Now the NCAA is lessening that. So, I mean, this is essentially a product of culture and a product of the NCAA. But again, one last point, just to recap it. If we had an expanded playoff, the postseason games would mean more, and you'd have more players staying and not even thinking about going anywhere.
Right. And I agree with you on a lot of that, James, but I guess my point was you're talking about bowls that mean absolutely nothing to the teams. But that's kind of my point, is that does it make it okay, we made it in the playoffs or we didn't. How does that change? How does that make it okay one way or the other to sit out just because you didn't get what you wanted? You see what I'm saying? Like, you didn't get the result you want, so now I'm just gonna quit and move on. You see what I'm saying? To me, it's more about the principle. To me, I'm not saying that I'm getting angry at these players if they do it because they're screwing over the school and they're losing and all that. That's not it for me. For me, it is all about the principle of what they're doing, and they're essentially okay. Yeah, you can make the argument of the playoff. Yes, it should be extended. All that, but to some extent, it's like, okay, I didn't get the result I want, so I'm just gonna I'm gonna stop right now.
There is that aspect, and I mean, honestly, I do lean more toward your side. I lean more toward the player staying and playing the game, but at the same time, you have to look at, I mean, they played the season. They're playing for a national championship. You don't get the national championship. You don't get your conference championship. But I mean, even now, 6-6 teams get bowl games, so everybody gets a bowl game. So you've gotten to the end of the season. You failed your attempted goal, and now your school is forcing your players to play another game that means nothing for money. I mean, that honestly, that's I almost feel like that's almost as wrong as the players sitting out after they've committed to the season. I mean, it means nothing but money, and you're forcing them to risk as much. You're forcing them to risk a significant portion of the amount of money that you're going to make off this game. So
and part of that is because of the fact that you have a ridiculous amount of ball games that a lot of them shouldn't even exist. I mean, if you're just talking about because I mean, who's gonna watch the? I can't even name one of them. What's the one of them that you hear the name of and you're like, wait, that's a bowl? I mean,
I don't know. I think there was one, the Fast Lane something bowl.
I mean, they changed because the sponsors changed.
Meineke Car Care Bowl or whatever.
Yeah, I mean the sponsors changed, but by whoever gives the most money for that particular bowl. But the point is like, you hear all these that you've never heard of before because they've made so many. Yeah. If you didn't have 6-6 teams, like these freaking awful teams getting a bowl game just because of
money,
then, which I understand that aspect. I mean, it is a business.
Yeah.
But if you take that away, then, and here's the thing: if you, I'll go to the playoff argument for a minute. If you take away the worst bowls, lose that money, and you expand the playoff, you make even more money. So there you go.
There you go, yeah.
and the
I'm done with my rant.
and the rich get richer, and the high profile teams just stay on top forever. No,
not
I'm
if
gonna
you
say
expand the playoff. If you
No.
expand the
All
playoff,
right,
you get
all
more
right.
low-tier
No.
teams.
I'm telling you this right here. I like 6-6 teams in a bowl game. I like 7-5 teams in a bowl game. And here's why. It's more than just money. Those players, honestly, those players get an extra 4 weeks of practice to build that program more, to build the team more, to get better. And if they don't have that game, guess what? They don't get to practice at all. Like, they literally are not allowed to practice. So how do you get better if you don't practice? So to me, the bowl games are also to build on what's going to happen next year, to build up your team, to build up your players, to get them more cohesive and playing together. That's just an extra month of practice, and it helps the team. It helps a 6-6 team to propel to 7 wins or 8 wins the next year, or a 7 or 8 win team to become a 10-win team, because they're getting better, because they're playing more and playing more together. They're practicing together. Yeah, I know it's mostly about money, but it does help the team, and it helps the players, the underclassmen who aren't going to the NFL, which is why I'm a capitalist. If you're going to the NFL and you want to sit out the bowl game, sit out the dang bowl game. I don't care. I mean, it's you're in this to build your career and provide for your family or future family or whatnot. If you want to sit out the bowl game, sit out the bowl game, because it doesn't matter.
On that note, I mean, you're taking away these college kids' winter break where they get a time to rest and relax and get their mind off school. And I mean, I guess to a degree, yeah, I mean, I would love being able to play football over winter break, but at the same time, you need that time to rest and relax, but you're giving them a month more of work and they're not getting any extra pay for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, yeah, you get scholarships for playing football, but the players can't get paid and they can't profit off of their name. I mean, that's part of what killed the NCAA franchise, is because players couldn't profit off their name.
It's a different argument.
Yeah, it's a different argument that ties back into this one. I mean, I guess it ties back into my ultimate one. It's the schools using these players for money. And I mean, I'm not normally so hard on schools about this. And it's like, yeah, you're investing in your future. It's the same way with going to college. You got to pay to go to school to get your degree so that you can get a job that pays you. I mean, that's just the way the system is set up, and I mean, it helps weed out people that aren't invested in their future.
The way I look at that is, I don't think that the school should be able to profit off the student, but I do think that I don't see the harm in if a player makes money off of his own self. If he promotes himself, like sells an autograph, who cares? That is capitalism. You're making money.
Amen.
I
Right.
will go at this
Like you are doing the
Yeah.
work to make. So you sell an autograph because some moron wants to pay you $2,000 for an autograph. Okay, you just paid your tuition, or at least part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, why are you taking that away from someone?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. What were you going to say,
What'd you have to say, Kyle?
I was going to say, I'm going to go at this from a little bit different angle, just kind of give some food for thought here. So players leaving early, not playing bowl games, whatever, they're sitting out. I see a couple of long-standing problems that could occur from this. So we let them think all about themselves and say, hey, I've got millions of dollars coming, so I'm not going to play this game because it's going to be better for me in the long run. Well, so number one, if I'm an NFL GM looking to draft them, for me personally, and this is probably why I'm not an NFL GM, I'm looking at that like saying, okay, what does that say about their character? What does that say about them as a teammate? Is that somebody I'm really going to want to bring into my franchise to say, through thick and thin, if we have to suck for a few years and go 4-12 or 2-14 or whatever, are they still going to be as committed to this team, or are they going to think, hey, I'm near the end of my contract, I'm not going to play as hard so I can get a bigger contract from another team that's more
Yeah.
successful. Kind
But-
of, what is that?
Let-
And then
let-
also, we complain about divas in the NFL, right? We complain about people that want
Yeah.
money.
Cam Newton.
We complain about
That's
people
why I
that-
don't watch the NBA.
Right. So we complain about that, but yet we're enabling these college players, to be that way by saying, no, don't play that bowl game. Think about yourself. Think about that money. Think about it. Think about your future career. And yet when we do that, that could be a seed for a bigger problem.
Yeah. To
point.
counter your first argument, GMs and coaches looking at players and saying, "Oh, they're sitting out their bowl game. They have a lack of commitment. That's a lack of character." I mean, there's a trade deadline before the end of the season. Teams are throwing around players like they're commodities. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. In college, it's different. It's more based on honor, character, improving yourself as a person, and committing to a team. Whereas in the NFL, it's a business. Everybody's in it to make as much money as they can, and if a team works together, they're better. So a team working together is purely a business move. It's not about character building. It's about making that institution more money. The institution makes more money, you make more money, so it's beneficial to you to be a team player. If you're not benefiting the team, the coach gets rid of you, And I mean, it's the same thing. Like a player sitting from a bowl game, they're already thinking like an NFL player. So, I mean,
Sue is a good example of that. Dude steps on guys' faces and just like, but he's a great talent and he helps the team. So
is he still playing for the Lions?
Now he's with the Rams.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I mean, he's going to contribute to the team though. So that's to James' argument. I'm not saying that's right. I hate Sue, but I think,
Yeah.
But I mean, I think he's the worst sad sack in the NFL. But teams want him because he's a great player. I mean, you can't take that away from him. So,
Yeah.
unfortunately, the NFL is based on it's a business solely, not like college. So they want who's going to make them, like you said, make the most money. So then they in turn can make more money. It's just
And so to counteract that argument a little bit further, a coach might look at that and say, "Oh, he's thinking like a businessman. He's trying to protect himself. He's the kind of guy that I want on my team. He's the kind of guy that's looking out for protecting himself, so I don't have to. And he's the kind of guy that's going to be ready to go and play for me and commit to me because he's already committing to me because he's sitting out of his bowl game because his bowl game means nothing." I mean, so it could go either way, really.
I think a lot of people. I think the coaches have learned not to accept guys like Johnny Manziel, though.
Hey, he left after playing for 2 years. He redshirted a year, played 2 years. He was in the NFL.
I'm not dogging him in town at all.
Yeah.
He's a great quarterback.
And he's cleaned up and he's actually doing okay in the CFL as of right now. And I think that's a better place for him.
There's a difference between the commitment thing, like you were talking about with GMs, and generally though, like a lot of times, like GMs will sift through guys that are, if they don't sift through them in college, they will quickly sift through them in the NFL. Like once they get to the NFL, they will drop them quickly because the team will suffer from it. But that's a whole different dynamic when you're talking about attitude and staying out of trouble and all that.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother ballgame. So,
all fair points. I appreciate all the input. That was a good discussion, guys. And I like the contention there. Because we got a guy in the group who's not an SEC fan. He always talks about the group think that we have. We don't disagree enough. But anyway. Real quick, lightning round. I want to go around the horn and see what you guys think. There are 3 big name hires in college football. Huh?
Nothing. I was going to make a joke. You said around the horn. I was going to say careful trademark.
Oh yeah, that's true. Pardon the So there are three big name hires in college football, and I want to see what you guys think. Who's the best? The best hire, the best fit? What do you think is going to work out? You got Les Miles to Kansas, Mac Brown to North Carolina, and Hugh Freeze to Liberty University.
Those are the three we're going with.
Those are the three biggest names, man.
Oh my!
I'm going to James since he loves Mac Brown so much.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna say Hugh Freeze at Liberty. I mean, he's a big fish in a small pond. You know, I mean, I would be willing to bet it's just going to be a stepping stone back up to the big leagues. I mean, he'd be my first choice. Second choice would be Les Miles. I mean, Mac Brown is old. He's been out of the game too long. And, I mean, while he's putting himself in a very good situation to provide himself with the opportunity to win, I think he was losing his touch at Texas, and I don't think he gained it back sitting in a chair in front of a TV. So yeah, I think Les Miles, having the heavy defensive mind going into the Big 12, I think he'll be able to be the brick wall in front of all those fast offenses. So I think it's all going to be pretty exciting to see how they do. Primarily Mac Brown being trash. But yeah, no. I mean, I wish him all the best, except for Mac Brown. All right. I'm going to pass it off.
Let's go to another guy who loves Mac Brown. Kyle, what you got for us?
Okay, I'm going to do this Rob style because I want to.
Yes.
So, number one, Hugh Freeze, just because he's auditioning for a better job. 2, Les Miles. He's worked in the Big 12 before. I mean, he's a good coach. I hate to say that because he's an LSU guy too, but he'll figure stuff out. If, maybe at Kansas, he'll at least be, 6-7 wins probably. And then last, whoever else got hired long before Mac Brown, and then Mac Brown at the very bottom of the list. I'm going to go ahead and take my 15-yard penalty for this right now because I just Mac Brown.
Yes.
We're gonna have to get a little psalm off going at the end of the cast.
All right, what you got, Rob? I love that you wanted to try to do my one-liner. That's great. Oh man, that's wonderful.
Hey, at least we know somebody's watching the show now.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've watched every one.
I love it. You and Sam Wallace.
Yeah, it's good. It's also good to know that it's not just y'all, the everyday ones that like my one-liners.
Yeah,
I think Sam also said he did as well. But yeah, there you go, our two watchers. Yeah, so I'm gonna say Les Miles. I think I don't know. I'm just interested to see what he does at Kansas. Because you look at a guy like Les Miles in the Big 12 with, I mean, the struggle is going to be that it's freaking Kansas. I mean, like, it's
hard to recruit.
We're not talking basketball here, so
yeah.
But I do think he'll recruit well because Les Miles has always recruited well. Now, with that said, he recruited at LSU. It's a little different. But I think it'll be interesting to see him bring a defense into the Big 12 because I mean, let's be honest, Texas doesn't have a defense. That is that defense of the Big 12. I figured y'all would all love that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Taking jabs at Texas.
When Texas is your best defense, you have terrible defense across the conference.
No, I just figured it would make y'all happy to hear me take a dig at Texas.
No, yeah. I appreciate all of us.
I'll do you one further. Jeff Norman, you suck, man. We all know he's not watching anyway. I'm just kidding. Just in case you are watching, I'm just messing. I just hate the Longhorns and think you're a ridiculous troll. That's all.
But anyway, it'll be interesting to see if someone can actually put a defense into the Big 12 and put a stop to some of those offense, and then you add a decent offense on that, I think it'll be interesting to see. I don't even care about Mac Brown. I have a hatred like y'all do, but and so yeah, I'd say Les Miles for me.
Okay. I think I'm going to go with Hugh Freeze as my number one. I think he's a great offensive-minded coach, and he's at Liberty. It's a stepping stone for him. But he's never going to I don't think he's allowed to come back to the SEC, if I'm not mistaken. So if it's a stepping stone, yeah, I think that's coming from the big dogs. Like they're not
from the SEC commissioners.
Yeah, from the commissioners. Yeah. So if it's a stepping stone, it's to an ACC school or a Big 12 school or whatnot, because he ain't coming back to the SEC.
So in other words, a stepping stone to inferior leagues. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
He can take over North Carolina when Mac Brown's inevitably fired.
Yes. But then I will say that my second choice is obviously not going to be Mac Brown. I think Les Miles actually has the opportunity to do something special at Kansas, something that hasn't been really done. I mean, they had a good year with Todd Riesling at quarterback a few years ago. But I think if he will, use his same defensive model and adapt to the Big 12 situation and adapt and get a passing game going. But the big key, I think, if he would just do this, and I hope he does this, Kansas is basketball country, right? Why not go into these high schools and recruit these basketball players that aren't going to go to Kansas to play basketball? They're going to go to K-State or they're going to go to a Division II school, but they're great basketball players. Why not recruit these guys and put them back there at DB or wide receiver? I mean, dude, you are in a prime place for defensive backs and wide receivers. Like, that's your pool, man. You've got to do something to get those guys to not go to these D2 schools and come to a D1 school and play football.
He is the Mad Hatter, so he might do that.
Exactly. He is the Mad Hatter. If he figures out a way to do that and get those guys to come, I think he would have a really, really good shot at doing something special there. And they really need a team that plays defense. I mean, the team that plays defense can really shake things in the Big 12, man, like legit. Like it does that, even if the offense isn't that great. I mean, they would just piss people off.
Just be subpar on offense.
Yeah, exactly. Because he won a national championship being subpar on offense. I mean, and that's why I brought those two into this mix, because both of those guys have won a national championship, Mac Brown and Les Miles. And Hugh Freeze actually bought a top five. I mean, he got a top 5 recruiting class. Yeah, he bought a top 5 recruiting class. At Ole Miss of all places. I mean, but yeah, I think he's going to turn. I think Liberty is actually pretty good, and I think he's going to make some headway there. They actually were just moved up to Division I the year before last. So, what?
I was just waiting on one of y'all to say Mac Brown couldn't even buy one.
Oh, I'm sure he bought his too. Vince Young probably came with the price.
Vince Young was.
Yeah, Vince Young was beast mode. Yeah, for real, legit. I will admit, Vince Young was a great player. As much as I hate to admit that. But let's move on to something fun, because this is our Christmas special, as James so aptly named it in the.
What's with the air quotes
on the YouTube?
To be more specific, it was holiday special number 1. So,
Dude, this is a Christian show. You cannot be using the word holiday.
Hey, I said holiday special number 1 because it's the holiday season. It's not Christmas yet. We're probably going to have 1 or 2 more shows before Christmas and 1 around Christmas. So I figured I would save the Christmas special.
So pre-Christmas special.
Yeah, this is the
whatever y'all want to call it.
JB. Yeah, this is the Cree.
The Cree-Christmas?
The Christmas, what's up, Rocho?
Me
no word's good.
The Cree-Christmas.
Cree-Primus, yeah. Okay, since this is the holiday special, part 1, we wanted to do something fun, and I want to go around the room and ask everybody, what is your favorite Christmas movie? Take it away, James.
That's an easy one. It's a Wonderful Life, man, and there are a lot of good Christmas movies out there. I like Santa Claus. Every once in a while, I like Home Alone, but you just can't beat. Oh, Jimmy Stewart! Oh, Mr. Stewart! You know, it's a Wonderful
Life. K-Dub, what you got?
My favorite movie is, of course, A Christmas Story. I like that marathon. I watch it as many times as possible, and I hear the phrase, "You'll shoot your eye out" every time I mention it. So I'm just going to throw that one out there.
All right. It's all good. Rob?
Hands down, Christmas Vacation.
Nice. Yeah. My wife's family, they watch Christmas Vacation every year. That's their thing. That's my wife's favorite Christmas movie. But I'm going with It's a Wonderful Life. That's not only my favorite Christmas movie, that's my favorite movie ever made. I love it.
I love it. It's a great movie. It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
It's just it would be up there too as on the top of my list for sure. Christmas Vacation is just. There's just something about it.
Yeah.
I mean, the beginning when they go to get a Christmas tree, and I mean, the start of the movie is just like, this movie is going to be awesome.
Little full, a lot of sap.
Yeah.
Little full, a lot of sap. But, no, it's a great movie. It is. But to me, I mean, It's a Wonderful Life. It's just something that's just heartwarming, man. And I cry like a baby every time I watch it, man. I swear. And I don't even care to admit that on air for the 2 people that watch this show. And one of them's here. So for the one person that watches this show. Shout
out Sam Wallace.
Exactly. So, but yeah, it's a great story. They don't make movies like that anymore, man. I mean, you need more George Baileys in the world. Mm-hmm. We all need more George Baileys in the world. The guy just gave up everything to help everybody else. And when he needed help, they came through for him. So when Harry says to my big brother George, the richest man in town, well, I bawl like a baby, man, every time. Yeah. It's a great movie. And now that I'm in the finance business, I can definitely relate to what he goes through. But moving on, what is your favorite Christmas song? And James, I hear you've got a playlist over there.
I went ahead and picked out a top 5 and just rattle them off real quick. Hold on just a second. My window just went down. But my number 1 is Santa Claus is Coming to Town by Reliant K, and it just sticks with me because
went with the Reliant K. Nice. I hadn't heard.
Yeah, I was visiting my best friend in South Carolina for the first or second time after they had moved. They moved when I was about 10, and every year we'd go up there. They'd come down here and visit us, and I was up there hanging out with my best friend, and we were listening to Reliant K's Christmas album, and it came on. I just thought it was so ridiculous and so funny. I listened to it, pretty much on repeat the entire time I was there, and it stuck. And now I remember that New Year's, and it just kind of sticks with me whenever I listen to the song. But my number 2 is "Oh Holy Night" by Becoming the Archetype. If you guys don't know who that is, it's a Christian metal band. More of you might know Carol of the Bells by August Burns Red. And then after that, I've got Sleigh Ride by Reliant. Well, I mean, the Reliant K edition at number 4. And then tied for 5th, I've got Silver Bells and White Christmas, both performed by Bing Crosby.
Bing Crosby. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. K-Dub, what you got?
All right. Favorite song, and I don't know why. I just love it. The Alvin and the Chipmunks Christmas song. That one's a great one. love that one.
Alvin!
Christmas
Alvin!
time is here.
Alvin! Yeah.
So I like that one. But if I had to go with a favorite album, I have a Rat Pack Christmas album. That
Oh,
it's a classic,
yes.
and I
Nice.
love it.
I'd just like to add before we go to Rob's choice. I love Sinatra, and I love Sinatra's Christmas. And yesterday would have been Sinatra's birthday, and he would have been 103 years old. So happy birthday to the chairman. And I'm a big Sinatra fan. But anyway, let's go with Rob. Who you got?
Well, I can't pick a particular artist for the song because I've heard so many versions and love so many versions. One of which is by a guy I grew up the church I grew up in sang it. So there's that, and then Pentatonic sang it, and band called Home Free. They're also another
acapella group.
Yeah, another really good acapella group. But the song is "Mary Did You Know." That I love that song.
She did.
Thank you, JB.
Go ahead.
No, it's just one of the songs I look forward to the most every year. But James, to your point, Bing Crosby, White Christmas is good, but I prefer the one by the Drifters.
Yes.
That's the one from, if you don't know, it's the one from Home Alone.
Home Alone, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah.
That's the Drifters.
Yeah. I'm the reason.
But yes, Bing Crosby, yes, awesome as well. That particular song I prefer it by the Drifters.
Nice. This is fun. I'm gonna give you mine. I've got two of my favorites. I mean, I like a lot of them. I like I like anything Frank Sinatra, anything. I like Michael Bublé too. I mean, he does some good Christmas stuff.
Some of that Josh Groban.
Bobby Boucher.
Bobby Boucher.
That's what I call Michael Bublé. You have to get my dad and my sense of humor to.
And I also like acapella Christmas music too, like the Pentatonics and the Glee Christmas albums are good. And what's that one? A Straight No Chaser.
Yes, yeah. We listened to those in the car on the way to my grandparents' house.
That's a good one. The 12 Days of Christmas by them is really good too.
Yeah.
They go into the Africa, which is really funny. But I've got to go with yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
But I've got to go with probably my two favorite. You said Santa Claus is Coming to Town by Reliant K.
Thumbin'. It's a parody.
All right. Well, I'm going to say the Bruce Springsteen version of Santa Claus is Coming to Town. That's my one, man. When I hear that, it just gets me going. It's just because it's I don't know. It's just cool because he rocks out, and that was that was really the first time that anybody did that song like that, like away from the normal Santa Claus. That whatever. The kids jingle thing.
I'm surprised that nobody did Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree or the Jingle Bell Rock, I guess.
Yeah.
I was gonna say 12 Days of Christmas Reliant K version is actually really epic too.
Okay.
I thought we're getting all
right.
this Reliant K in. That's
Well, I mean, the reason we were listening to the Reliant K Christmas album, I mean, one is because he had it and he liked it, but I get so tired of all the traditional Christmas songs because they start getting played earlier and earlier every year. And it's just like, I mean, you get enough of the same songs over and over again in a 1 month span to last you more than a year. So I was like, this is new. this is, more my speed. And plus I was starting to go through my rebellious teen phase too. So it really fit the attitude, kind of sticking it to traditional Christmas music with a little goofy punk Christmas music. So
when are you coming out of that, James?
I've already come out and gone back in twice, man.
There you go, man. Yeah, never grow up, man. Come on. Peter Pan.
Have y'all ever listened to Jackie Evanko? She I actually didn't know who she was until like a day or two ago, and a friend of mine, she was on America's Got Talent when she was like 10, and had like an opera style voice at the age of 8, which is like I didn't even know was physically possible. But she's got a couple Christmas albums, and the reason I mentioned her is because you're talking about the same old Christmas songs. Well, she does some of them, but she's kind of done that. Her albums have different stuff on them than just the same, 7 or 8 songs that just beat you to death.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of the same old Christmas songs, I'm going to give you what my favorite Christmas song, because I said I had 2, and it's Nat King Cole, the Christmas song. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose. That song just says Christmas to me, man. Like it's classic. And
before Straight No Chaser, it was Nat King Cole every year, all the way up to my grandparents' house, about 6 hours away. So, I mean, I heard that one plenty too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Well, it's been a good cast. I'm glad we had a little bit of fun on this one. More to come. I want to talk about Christmas some more. Maybe get a little bit into some serious discussion about Christmas. We've had some fun discussion in the tavern. I don't know if anybody read those, but it was fun to watch.
Had some popcorn.
I started that. I one thing I like to do is troll my own group, and especially Bama fans. It's just fun. But that was just one. I just threw that out there just to see what happens. It's like somebody's going to get into it on this one. I just know it, and it did. So, but maybe we'll discuss that on a later date. What we think about Christmas. But I think all of us like Christmas, apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kyle, is glad to have you. Glad to have another Arkansas brother. I got to ask you, where are you from in Arkansas, bro?
Alma, Arkansas. So more northwest.
Yeah, buddy. That's about 45 minutes south of Fayetteville.
Yep.
I got you. Nice.
All right. And you said you were in Dallas for school?
Yeah. So
DTS?
Actually, no. So I go to a private Christian college in Waxahachie, actually. So when you mentioned that earlier, that, that hit home for me there. So I actually work at my undergrad institution while I'm getting my grad degree because I get it for free for working there. So doing that and getting my master's done for free because I was in enough debt for my undergrad going private school.
Yeah. All right.
Well, that's a great show. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed having Kyle on here, and I just want to let you guys. We're going to keep doing this through the wintertime, even though football's not on. Hopefully, we can talk some basketball soon. We didn't get to that today, but it's fine. It's the real basketball hasn't started yet. We haven't started SEC play, but I think that's the cast. So remember, brothers, to let your light shine before men so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven. And we'll see you in the tavern.